Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Austin. This is going to be my first official YouTube channel or video. This video is going to be a little bit weird because I was going to use this channel as gaming, but I don't have enough time for that, seeing with work and everything. But I'm going to be putting this as a 3D modeling, like cosplay and making props and stuff. But this video is going to be a little bit different. I didn't have a camera at the time, so what I would do is took screenshots and pictures off my phone, because I didn't think about uploading this to my YouTube channel, because it's, like I said, it was going to be meant for gaming. But in this video I was going to go over my Ironman project that I did, and I'll go to pictures and step by step on how I made it, and the eyes turn on and light up and everything, and I go more into that later. But this is what is controlling the actual Ironman helmet itself. It's an Alisha Board by Crashworks 3D. I will put a link in the description where I got this, and I will be putting a link in the description for all of the stuff that I have bought in or purchased to put into the making of this helmet. If you guys have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comments. Like to ask you to smash that subscribe button and that like button and turn notifications on for my next post. And also, you guys can put down ideas and projects I can do in the future, and I'll see if I can choose one of those. But this is where it's going to be getting weird for this video, because like I said, I didn't have a camera at the time. So I'm going to be showing you slideshow and a little bit of the videos that I've recorded, and I'll be doing a voiceover and explaining what I did and how I did and everything. But after this video, for my future projects, I will be actually recording with this camera I'm on right now. One more thing I forgot to mention is I will be going over all of the items or objects that I have printed out to make the helmet. I do not have a 3D printer. My brother actually 3D printed all the parts for it, and I put the rest of it together. One of the things he made me was this little box. It has a little hole right there for the power cable to actually power the Alisha board. There are a couple things for this. This button, like no one told me when I first looked at it, this little button right here on top, right there, is actually a reset button. It doesn't mess up the code or anything. All it does is, say you open up the thing and you want to reset the shield, you push it and it'll basically turn this board off and then return it back on its own. So you don't need to unplug or plug back in or anything. This one on the bottom is the only one that's meant to be plugged in for the power. This one with the yellow tape on it is meant just to access the code on the Arduino board. It does not receive any power or anything. There's a bunch of extra ports already pre-soldered and pre-coded onto this. This blue one right here is for the actual switch to open and close the shield, and these two red ones down the bottom right here are for the actual servos. This one right here and this one are for the eyes, to the power. You can power up the eyes, and then there's a third one for an extra auxiliary where you can add another light for a certain thing. And I forget at the moment what the rest of these pins do. Alright, I just threw the actual Alisha board inside the white box like I showed earlier. All I really did was get a piece of wood and I just taped it in front of it so it held it close so the board would not fall out or anything. But I did leave some space through the bottom so the wires can actually come out. And how I mounted the battery pack, which is this one, how I mounted it is I had one of these, I forget what they're called, this clip, and there's one glued to the inside of the helmet. I'll show you if you guys can see it, right in there. And the battery, so instead of the wires taking all the strain and everything, it just hangs, and that's going to be hanging down on my back. And the wire that is showing, this one, connects to the actual Alisha board through the side port. And I'll show you guys in a second once I get this in. Right, and then this open close is just booting up basically. And like I said, the eyes turn on, and then I put a little button on the chin right here, so I can just use my chin, and the shield will open up, and like so, it opens up. So I can look around and everything, and then I can close it by pushing that button again. And if I double tap that button, the eyes actually can turn on and off. So that's off, and then turn back on. Or say it's a little bit too dark in here, when these eyes are on, you really can't see that much. So if you hold down the button, the eyes actually start to dim down, and then they'll go back up to full brightness. And then it still works, as you can open it and you can close it. What I did is I put a foam block, just normal styrofoam or foam, glued it to the top so it hits like this. So the helmet actually fits only my head. And in order for me to get the chin button to work, which is right there, in order for me to get that to work, I would have had to somehow get a connection to go from here all the way down the side and all the way down to the board. But in order for me to put the helmet off, you have to take the chin piece off. So I put these little magnets inside the helmet, which I'll show in the slideshow that I'm going to be doing after this. There's one right here, and then one on this side. So these pieces actually sit right over my ear, and the other parts are glued on the inside. One's right there, and then the same on the other side. So they're magnet inside of here, so they'll magnetize together, so it creates contact so the wires can actually work. And all I did for the chin button right there is I had to melt the actual plastic a little bit. All I used was a soldering iron, and I melted the plastic so I can be able to get a little bit more room inside there. And all I did was just solder the wires onto it and just glue it on to the actual helmet. So I can just move my chin like that, and it actually pushes the button so the helmet will fit on and open and close, and then I can take the chin off, and the button doesn't do anything because it has no contact. And then the eyes are right here, and yes, you can see through them. I don't know if you can see that well through it, but like it depends on the brightness. If it's bright in here, then you'll be able to see through it, but if it's a little bit too dark, you really can't see anything. They are bendable, but if you're gonna bend them, all I did was just held it onto it and glued it there. But you can't. I've seen some people actually use like a lighter or a heat gun or a hairdryer. The hairdryer and the heat gun are the ones that would work better than the lighter, because the lighter, when you light it, when you hold it too close, it'll make black soot, and it also can ruin and distort the actual view through the actual pieces. And I just glued everything into the helmet, and they're stuck to the actual back of the helmet. And I'll go around over all the mounts and pieces, and I'll put all the links in the description, and where I got the actual helmet 3D print file and everything else. And I forgot to take the tape off of it, but right there, here and here, are 3 little neodymium magnets, so the chin would actually hold on, because there was no other way it would hold on, because it would just slide on like so, and then you would be able to pop it right back off. But I didn't line it up. So now the magnets for the chin button, they're a lot stronger, so now the chin actually stays on. Like, I can hold it and it doesn't fall off at all. But I now I'm done showing you all this. Now I will go over and show you the actual slideshow and go through the talking and just talk about all the steps I took and what I had to do for certain things. And like I said at the beginning of this video, if you guys could hit that like button, it would make me feel a lot better, so I would know that you guys like this kind of content and I would be able to upload more projects. And if you have any ideas what I could change to do to make this look better, or any ideas to make further projects, I'll leave them in the comments. So there are many videos out there on how to make a 3D printed Ironman helmet, but a bunch of the videos don't actually go into depth and show you how to connect wires or to get them so you can be able to solder them and then put electrical tape on them. So I'm just gonna switch positions with the camera and I'll go over how I connected all of the wires and then would connect the wires. So I just have two little short pieces. I do have, actually I have a bigger piece right here. So if I was going to strip these ends, you would either use wire stripper like these or the newer ones where you just put it in, click it, and it'll separate it for you. But what I do, I'm just going to give it a little bit more length to the wire just so you guys can see it a little bit better, and then you just twist just to get it so it's not loose and frayed at the very end, so it creates like a twisted pattern. So I don't know if it'll focus. But it's not really focusing. But you do that, and then I would strip the other wire and do the same thing. So it's, instead of it looking like this and like all frayed out and everything, you just twist it and you just pull it, basically slide your finger up off the wire, so it gets it all bunched together and it doesn't move. So now I have two wires that, let's say I'm going to connect to do something. So I'd put a little X basically, so like that. This wire, the red one, I'm going to wrap around this way on the black side. So basically make an X. Then I'm going to wrap that wire all the way around. Like so. So now this side is all wrapped up and everything. Sorry, the camera went off, I thought it died. Now this side is wrapped up. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this empty space, but with the other wire in the opposite direction. So you can see this one goes around and hangs down this way. So that means I'm going to take this wire and go the opposite way. So it basically wraps around it. And now you can just leave this how it is, like it's pretty strong, but as it is. But like I just did, I pulled a little too tight, so it did slide the wires out a little bit. So you can either leave it as is, or you can put electrical tape over the actual wire, and it would make it so it doesn't have contact with anything else. Like if you have multiple wires, they won't connect, just tap like that, and it would mess up your actual whole thing. Or you could use your soldering iron and some solder, my bad, and you would just solder the wires. And then what I did is I soldered all the wires together, and then I used a little bit of electrical tape, and I electrical taped over it all so it doesn't have any contact, so it couldn't possibly mess up or ruin anything. But yeah, that's how I connected it, and so far it's worked out. There's no really problems with anything, but if you guys have any ideas on how I could do it better, or if there's an easier way to do it, if you guys could just leave it in the comments. Now I'm just gonna put the helmet on so you guys can see what it would look like. Sorry for the noise in the background. There's packages getting delivered. Take the chin piece off, and actually I'm just gonna clip in the battery pack before I put the helmet on, just so it's a little bit easier. for me. And then all it is this is gonna go on my neck, like so. And I just gotta lift up these little flaps with the magnets so they go over my ears, so they don't connect or have anything in the way. Make sure my hair is out from the actual sides. Put the shield up. And then this is just gonna slide right over all those magnets that I showed earlier. It should click in like so. And then now I can just plug this actual into the Alisha board, which is right here. And then it's gonna boot up like so. And now the eye's turned on, and I can see everything in here. Like I can see, look around everything. The camera's here. I can grab my phone, the lighter. I can see everything. Or I can shut the lights off, and I can also see as well. Or I can just open up the whole entire thing, see if you guys can see a little bit better, and see how much better you can see everything, look around, move, talk. You can still hear with this on, but it is a little bit louder because it echoes off the side. One of the things that I'm thinking about might do in the future is actually put felt or fabric on the inside of the helmet, so it's not just like plastic and you can hear like the scratchiness. Like I don't know if you guys can hear it. But yeah, that's basically about it. And all I gotta do is hit my chin again. Oh, the battery pack shut off. That's one of the things I would have done different, gotten a different battery pack where it actually just stays on until you shut it off. But now it's just gonna close because I turned it back on. And everything works. Open it, close it, lights turn on, and then also they can turn off. And that's basically about it. And then I can just pull the chin piece off because it's on my ears, so I don't have to hold the actual helmet. But there is one thing that I had to do a little bit differently to some of the other parts. And I'll let you guys know that once I remember what I was gonna say. Which I forgot, so if I remember it later on in the video, I'll tell you guys. But I forgot to show you the actual mount, so I'm just gonna pick the camera up real quick. So all of these, let me just put the helmet down. So these mounts, this is one arm. I have the same on the other side, right there. Then this is the actual servos. There's one here and one here inside the actual kit. And then there's an arm here and another arm on this side. So in order for it to open up, these arms are going to be kind of loose, or they'll slide up and close and stuff on their own. They're just helper arms, so they help guide it. The only thing that actually moves is this one. So if say for these two arms weren't attached, this face shield could just go up and down sideways like this, and it could also go up and over in here and then go back down to the other side. Only thing these are here for is to make sure and keep it on track where it opens and it closes, and it just stays once it's in its shut position, and then open once it's in its open position. I'll go a little bit more into depth about all that stuff, and you can see all the seams. Like, it's not pretty on the inside, but that's also because this is my very first project, and all I did was I took my soldering iron. You could use a wood burner, which I was going to, but my wood burner actually broke, so I had to use my soldering iron. And all you could do is you just cross everything so everything touches and melt the seams together. I believe it's called PLA welding, where you just melt all the plastic with each other and fuse it as one. And then also, I don't have any filament in here. I have extra filament, so if I want to, I could fill these gaps up. Let's say this wire is filament. I can just go over it like this and cut it and just melt that and blend it into the crack so it fills it in and makes it smooth and shiny. Not shiny, but like smooth. And yeah, I'll go over into depth on like all this stuff and everything later on in the video. Alright guys, it's a new day. Now that I've gotten all of the talking out of the way, and showing all the stuff with the Ironman helmet and everything. Now I'm going to switch over and start showing the slideshow. A lot of the stuff on there I already went through and described a little bit of it, but the thing in the previous video where I was saying that if once I remember I would tell you guys, what it was these little magnets on the side were too strong, and if I put this on like this, I would not be able to pop this off at all. I couldn't pull it off if it was on my chin and just pulled it off like in the earlier part of the video. Couldn't do that. So what I did is I took, let's say this is like that magnet. I took one end and I just bent it a little bit so it's slanted, but not such a dramatic slant where the magnets don't touch anymore. Just enough where it touches, but it doesn't have full contact, so it's not as strong. But I did take a couple pictures of it when I was doing it, I believe. So I'll switch that over and show you into the video of the pictures. Alright guys, all of the purchases and items that I used to make all the Ironman helmet are going to be at the end of the video. Also, sorry for the birds in the background and noise. I did have to change location from where I was recording. Alright, hey guys, it might sound a little bit different because I am using a different microphone. The previous mic I was using was for the camera, and now this is the mic from my computer. But the first photo is a picture of the 3D printer printing a print, but it's not for the Ironman helmet. It is an Ironman miniature size for a different project, but I didn't think about getting a picture while I was in the process of getting a print for the Ironman helmet. So like I said in the previous recordings, I currently do not own a 3D printer. My brother does, so he actually 3D printed all of the parts for me. As you can see in this image right here, all these parts are all small pieces because that's the biggest size for his print bed. But he printed them all out for me, and I just held them all together and started taping all the pieces together because I wanted to see how it looked and if everything lined up and if everything matched, because if it didn't, then I could fix it in the file, so I wouldn't have to do all this work to find out it doesn't fit all together and have to restart the whole print and have it take another numerous amount of days. I can't remember off the top of my head how long this project took, but it was being done while I was working a full-time job and having to do other stuff in between, so it was like a night project type thing. For this photo right here and the next video, I was just getting everything to see if it fit on me and see how it looked, and if I liked how it looked, if it was cool and stuff. Alright, so this video is the whole helmet all completed the print, and I taped everything together to see if everything fit. There are some gaps in between all the lines because they were small pieces and they were just being held in by painter's tape. But there it is. I took the face shield off, and this video is actually after I used the soldering iron and melted all the joints together on the inside of the helmet, so it didn't show any of the roughness or mess up melts on the outside of the helmet, because then it would be harder to get rid of during the process of painting and sanding. This photo, I actually started mounting the servos and the mount for the servos to help open and close the helmet. So in this next photo, it shows the servos mount and all the welds on the inside at a different angle, but it also is meant to show the helper arms that are mounted on the sides of the helmet. There's one on the left side and then one on the right. All it does is it helps so the shield or the face shield opens up at a certain angle, and it stops there instead of it keep rotating or sliding or hitting the top of the helmet. And then the same as when it goes down and closes, so it stops. Alright, for these two photos that are right here, there's no power or the motherboard or the Alisha board installed on it at all at this moment. All it is just solid pictures of the helmet with the arms all mounted up, and it's all set up when it's opened and then when it's closed as well. Alright, for this video is actually when I got all of the stuff set up, like all of the Alisha board plugs, the wires, and everything hooked up to the servos. The next video that's about to play is actually the eyes. I got plugged into it and started to set it up, but I actually had them in reverse. So all I had to do was just close the face shield, plug the lights in, and then turn the power on, so then the eyes turn on when it's closed, and then when I hit the button they'll close, and I mean the helmet will close and the eyes will turn on. Alright, for this video is when I actually got everything wired up and I wanted to try it on and see if it fit. So I put the helmet on my head. It wasn't fully done, it was just the top half of the helmet, but I just wanted to see if everything would work and everything, and it did. So I'm gonna be putting on the chin part of the actual Ironman helmet, so then you guys can see the whole thing put together and have the face shield open and close. Alright guys, after this image is when I started to start spray painting and priming and sanding process. I had a sandable primer, and that's what's on the helmet right now. I sprayed a bunch of times and I couldn't get it to actually cover up the lines, so I found this stuff called Dry Dax Spackle. It's meant for like drywall, so you fill in seams and cracks and stuff. So I tried that on the helmet. It starts pink and dries white, and you're able to sand that after it's done drying. I put it on a couple different times. I put it on, sanded it off, added more in certain spots if I needed to. And then after I was done sanding everything, which I thought I was done right here. Everything was smooth, it was all flush, everything fit. So then I just needed to wait till the weather was good so I can go outside and start spray painting it. But that time I messed up because I completely forgot that I had to reprime it, because once I started spray painting it, the actual spray paint soaked into the spackle, as you can see in this image right here, I believe. Yep, you can see how it started to soak in and it wasn't perfectly smooth or shiny or anything. So I decided to use sandpaper and sand off all of the spray paint that I just put on and start over, which I did. I spray painted it, I reprimed all the pieces, taped off what I needed. It looked a lot better. And then after I was done priming it, probably about 7 different times, I started to actually spray paint. I probably put 6 or 7 coats of each color on the helmet and all the chin piece and everything, and I let it dry overnight, and then I came back in the morning, I sprayed it, let it dry, sprayed it again afternoon, and then I started taking all the tape off because I was done. There are some spots that I needed to work on, which on the chin or the helmet on the side, the red paint bled through the tape, but I didn't mind it that much. I did take care of it. But this is the helmet when it's completely done, spray paint process and sanding and everything. And now all I needed to do was work on the actual wiring and the mounting of the button for my chin. As you can see, when I open up the shield, all the wires were too short because that's the length I got in the package. I couldn't really set up the wiring or the mounting of the wires and the board and everything at the moment because the wires were too short. So I did go on Amazon and buy a spool of wire. So I lengthened, I think, all of the wires. I did add a little bit of wire to it, so I had a little bit more room. As you can see right here, everything is resoldered, and I started mounting everything on. And this is the actual first time I got the button to work where I could have the helmet and the eyes and everything turn on. The blinking of that eye was not intentional. One of the wires, the clip was loose, so all I had to do, I just cut that clip off and resoldered a new clip onto it, which solved the whole issue. Now in these photos is when I started to use that magnet that I showed earlier in the beginning of this video, to get the chin button to work, where I can take the chin off and have the chin on, but the button works when it's connected. So I actually had my brother 3D print a plate for me, which is, I just had him print out a flat sheet of basically paper on his print bed, so I have extra print so I can cut up and add to the helmet if needed. And that's actually what I did use to mount the magnets for the chin. I cut off 2 little rectangles, got it aligned up perfectly, and then I just glued and soldered and melted the pieces all together and to the helmet. Alright, for this video is when I actually got everything all set up for the very first time. The button mounted, the wires mounted, the battery pack mounted, the Alisha board mounting, and everything set up and everything working. So this is actually when I first finished the actual Ironman helmet. Alright, so now I'm going over all of the items that I purchased into making the Ironman helmet. So the first things are these magnet clasp type things. It's what I used for the Ironman helmet chin for the button. I have tried numerous attempts to get it so it's not as strong. I put wire in between, didn't work. I put black duct tape on that magnet as you saw in this photo, and that didn't work either. So the way I got it to work was when I bent the actual piece a tiny bit where it didn't affect it too much, where it still had contact, and it worked. Alright, so the next 3 images are of the magnets I used for the Ironman helmet. It's a 60 pack of all different size neodymium magnets. Here they are side by side. There is one more stack, but it's gone because I used all of them for the Ironman helmet. I believe it was 6 of them. It's right on the top, the very small one. That's the one that I showed you guys in the video where I said that I still have the tape over them. And then after this is the limiter switch is what it's called. And that's what it is right now on the screen. That's what I use for the chin to open and close the actual face shield. These are the eyes. I bought them off eBay. They're a lot cheaper on eBay. They are bendable. You can get numerous colors and you can see through them. All I did was cut the battery pack off and soldered them to the actual board. And then after this is going to be the battery pack that I have, which I also purchased off Amazon. I don't know if I said it before in the video. All of the links will be in description for everything that I purchased for the helmet and all the stuff that I used that I bought from like different stores. I'll also put those in description as well. These are the 2 servos that I bought for the helmet. There is a little bit of a difference for these servos, which I'll go over at the end of the video. And then after these servos is going to be the spray can of sandable primer that I bought. All the stores near me didn't have any at the time, so I just bought this off Amazon. But I do know that Walmart carries the one that I need, and same with AutoZone. And then after this is a spool of wire that I actually purchased to lengthen all of the wires in the helmet because all of them were a little bit too short. After that is going to be a pack of nuts, bolts, and washers. I believe washers. But it's for actual 3D printers for maintenance and stuff. But all these screws fit for the helmet that you needed to be able to make. Alright, so about the servos for what I use for the actual Ironman helmet, the ones that are gonna be right in there. I talked about it a little bit in the video where there was a problem with mine at first. Everyone that I saw, I'm gonna use this as an example, a little fan thing that I built. Everyone that I saw in the videos on how to make Ironman helmets and stuff, they always talked about their servos when you go like this, it would stop and you wouldn't be able to turn it one way, and then you would do the same thing and it would stop and you couldn't turn it. The ones that I got, it was full rotation. You can just keep going like this. Didn't matter how many times you did it, you also could do it reverse the same way and it wouldn't stop. So I ran into a problem where I set up the whole helmet, but the helmet would sometimes just go like this. It would go up like this and then go down, and it would just stop, and sometimes it would stay in the middle like that. Wouldn't really do anything. And I didn't know at first why, until I thought about it for a little bit, and then I realized that they might not be in sync, because the videos I've watched, they say make sure both of them are turned all the way one way. But I couldn't do that because mine didn't lock. It just kept turning and turning and turning. So what I did is, say this is the servo, I put one of the arms that are on with this, that came with the servo, on it. All I did was gave it power, and it stopped it at where it couldn't go any further. So I knew that was one stopping point. Did the same thing to the other servo, and knew that was where they both stopped at. So I put them in the helmet, and they would line up. And luckily it lined up, so when I activated it, when I gave it power, it was closed, and I couldn't do anything about it. So I put power to it again. Both of the servos turned on, so they opened up. So I knew that this was where it was opened all the way. And then all I did was attach the little screws that are right inside here, right next to the eyes, to it like this. I went through here with the screwdriver, attached it. Then I was able to close it. I plugged it in to give power, and then it actually started working. So that's how I solved my problem with the servos. And this should conclude the rest of my video on how I made my Ironman helmet. Like I said in the video before, if you guys could like, subscribe, and comment, and I do read comments. If you guys could either put down suggestions on my next project I should do, or if you have any pros on how to do anything better, like if I did something in the video like my soldering wasn't as good as it could be, if you guys could give me any like key details or tips and tricks on how to do something better, I will take time and read and comment back to any of the comments and questions are asked in comments. But I will remind you that all of the links are going to be in the description for where I got all my stuff, where it came, if it came from Amazon, Walmart, and a bunch of the stuff I did get from online, from servers, or not servers, from websites, like the files for the helmet, the files for the actual servo arm kit. This box, it didn't have anything. My brother actually just printed it out for me just to hold everything for it. But other than that, everything else I built or I bought from the store. And I will leave links for all of those in description.